You've been told the most dangerous debt is a credit card, the kind with a 24% interest rate stamped right on it, the kind your parents warned you about. But here's the truth. The most dangerous debt in your life right now charges you 0%. No fees if you're careful. It looks completely harmless. And that, believe it or not, is exactly what makes it so dangerous. Because the debt that scares you, you're careful with. The debt that feels free, you barely even notice you're taking it on. In 2025, around 6 out of 10 people at Coachella, one of the biggest music festivals on the planet, didn't actually pay for their tickets. Not up front. They split them into 4 little payments. Buy now, pay later. People financing a single weekend of music the same way you'd finance a car. And most of them would swear, hand on heart, that they never took out a loan. No papers, no bank, just a friendly little button. But make no mistake, they took out a loan. They just didn't feel it. It didn't start here. In the beginning, this was for the big stuff. A couch, a new TV, a laptop for school. Things you'd plan for and save for. But it crept. Electronics, then clothes, then concert tickets. And then, in 2025, it crossed a line nobody saw coming. A company called Klarna teamed up with DoorDash, and the internet instantly renamed it Eat Now, Pay Later. You could now split a single burrito into 4 payments. And all told, Americans loaded over $56 billion onto these little plans in just 8 months. So today, I'm going to hand you one simple object, one arcade tab. And with that single tab, you're going to understand this entire $56 billion machine. Because the real danger here isn't hidden in the numbers. It's in one single, beautiful psychological trick. And the fastest way to see that trick clearly is to forget about money for a minute. Picture an arcade. Imagine you walk into that arcade with $5 in your pocket, and you spot the best game in the building, but it costs $20 to play. Normally, that's the end of the story. You've got 5, it costs 20, so you walk away. That's how money has always worked. You can only ever spend what you actually have in your hand. But this arcade has a shiny new rule. You don't have to walk away anymore. You can just open a tab, play right now, pay $5 today, and 5 on each of the next 3 Fridays. And watch what just happened inside your head. A $20 game suddenly feels like a $5 game. The price didn't change, your balance didn't change, but the feeling of it shrank to a quarter of its real size. That, right there, is the entire trick. Take a price big enough to make you hesitate, slice it into 4 small pieces, push 3 of them into the future where they feel fuzzy and far away, and your brain just shrugs and says, yeah, sure, why not? You never decided you could afford $20. You decided 4 separate times that you could afford 5. Here's the science underneath it, in plain English. Your brain feels genuine pain when it spends money. Researchers have watched it light up on scans, the same region that processes physical discomfort. That little sting is your built-in brake. It's the thing that makes you pause and ask, wait, do I actually need this? Buy now, pay later takes that brake and very gently snips the cable. It doesn't show your brain $20 leaving, it shows it 5. No sting, no pause, no brake, just yes. And stores love this, because the moment that pain disappears, you don't just buy, you buy more, and you buy bigger. The average order size jumps the instant Pay in 4 appears on the screen, sometimes by a third or more. So who actually pays for all this free convenience? Not the pay later company being generous out of the kindness of its heart. The store does. Every time you tap that button, the shop hands them a slice of the sale, happily, because you just spent 2, 3, 4 times what you walked in planning to. The free was never free. Now, 1 tab? 1 game? Honestly, that's completely fine. $5 a Friday is nothing. And that, right there, is the real trap. Because nobody ever opens just 1. You beat the first game, you're feeling clever, and the machine right next to it also takes a tab. So does the one after that. New game, new tab. New app, new 4 payments. None of them feels big. None of them feels like an actual decision. Each one a quiet little yes that never once felt like a yes. But add up all those little Fridays, and something genuinely ugly appears. By the end of the night, you're not juggling one payment, you're juggling six. 6 due dates, 6 amounts, scattered across 6 weeks from 4 different companies. And you'd have no real idea what you owe in total. And this isn't a hypothetical. In 2025, 23% of Buy Now, Pay Later users, nearly a quarter, had 3 or more of these loans running at the same time. A third borrowed from multiple companies at once. There's a name for it: loan stacking. And it's not an accident. It's the natural result of making every single yes feel free. And now the part that should genuinely worry you. With a credit card, at least there's one bill, one scary number at the bottom of the page every month, reminding you how deep you are. These little tabs, they often don't show up anywhere like that. For years, most of them didn't appear on your credit report at all. The big banks couldn't see them. The credit scoring companies couldn't see them. So when a real lender checks whether you can afford a car or a flat, your 6 stacked tabs are completely invisible. And sometimes the only person keeping track of all 6 is you. And 19% of users admit they've already lost track. Really think about what that means. A kind of debt that doesn't show up on your credit report, doesn't show up in your banking app, doesn't show up on any single statement that adds it all together for you. Money you genuinely owe, that's effectively invisible. Economists and journalists have started calling it by a name that sounds like something out of a horror film: phantom debt. Debt that nobody, not the banks, not the regulators, sometimes not even you, can fully see. Right up until the Friday it suddenly, silently comes due. So if it's 0%, how does anyone make billions? How is it worth more than century-old banks? 2 ways. The first one you already know. The store pays them a cut on every single sale. That's the clean money. But the second way is darker, and it is not the part they print on the billboard. They make money the second you slip. Miss one of those friendly little Fridays, just one, and the friendly tab stops being so friendly. Late fees appear. Some plans flip over into interest, backdated all the way to day one, as if the 0% never existed. And people are slipping. The share of users who've made at least one late payment climbed from 34% in 2023 to 39% in 2024 to 42% in 2025. Read that trend again. It is not getting better as people grow used to it. It is getting worse every single year. More than 4 in every 10 users, late. And the youngest users, the ones shown these cheerful little buttons the most, are slipping the hardest of anyone. This isn't a handful of careless people. This is the system working exactly as designed. Okay, let's leave the arcade and put the real names on everything because you've genuinely earned them now. That tab company? Its real name is Klarna. In 2025, it went public. It sold shares of itself on the stock market, worth around $13.5 billion. That little cut the store quietly pays? Bankers call it the merchant discount rate. And the loan stacking, the invisible tabs, the missed Fridays, the late fees, economists bundle the whole lot into one cold clinical word: delinquency. Same machine, same trick. You just understand it now from the inside out. And here's the single number that ties this entire story together: Klarna's own losses. The money it lost from customers who simply couldn't pay it back climbed 17% in a single year, hitting around $136 million in just 3 months. Now lay that on top of everything you already know. Because the same quarter those losses were climbing, the company was getting more popular, not less. More customers, more purchases split into 4, and inevitably more people who couldn't pay. Read it one more time. More customers, and more people who can't pay. That is the warning light blinking on the dashboard. Now let me be completely fair because this matters. Buy now, pay later is not evil. Used once, on time, on something you were honestly going to buy anyway, it's a completely free, interest-free loan. Honestly, it can be the smart move. So the danger was never one loan. The danger is what it quietly does to your decisions. It removes the friction. That 1 second pause where you'd normally stop and ask, "Can I actually afford this right now?" And it smoothly replaces it with a softer question. Sure, it's only 4 payments. It's not the loan that ever gets you. It's the question you slowly stopped asking. And that is exactly why the groceries thing should really sit with you. When people start splitting their burrito, their weekly food shop, their everyday essentials into 4 payments, that is not convenience anymore. You don't finance something you'll eat in 20 minutes because it's clever. You do it because the money simply isn't there yet. And around a quarter of users now say they've used these plans to buy groceries, up from roughly 1 in 7 just a year earlier. That is not a fun little fact about shopping. That is a warning light blinking quietly about how a lot of people are really doing. So here is the one thing I genuinely want you to do with all of this. The very next time a checkout screen offers to split it into 4 friendly little payments, just pause, 1 second, and do the exact piece of math the entire system is praying you'll skip. Add them all up. Every open tab you already have, plus this shiny new one, and say the real total number out loud. Because the danger of buy now, pay later was never the buy now. It's the pay later that gets you, quietly, in little pieces, on some Friday you'd already forgotten about. And pay later always, always arrives. This isn't financial advice. It's just the math nobody bothers to show you at the checkout. Now, I deliberately left out the deep end because honestly, it deserves a whole video of its own. How Klarna's debut on the stock market actually turns all of this into money for its founders. The growing fight over whether these loans should finally show up on your credit score, and what happens to millions of people on the day that they do. And how regulators around the world are scrambling right now to catch up with all that phantom debt before it becomes the next great crisis. Want that breakdown? Comment "Yes, Part 2" down below and I'll make it next. Subscribe so it lands in your feed, and so the next checkout screen never ever catches you off guard. I'll see you in the next one.